it sounds like you still have a bit of quarrel with
the age gap.
The age gap stuff a little bit.
Because I just
is that
think,
the case?
and this is my own bias, when I was that age, I was in the longest term relationship at that age, and granted, he was close to my age, but I was not good at handling conflict. I was not good. And yes, the man could lead a woman out of that, but I just look back at that time, and I had to learn a lot of what it was like to not be in the right relationship for me. And I've learned a lot in my years.
Okay.
And that's...
But that was the same age relationship?
We were a similar age, yeah. It was out of college.
Yeah. But I guess it sounds like the men that you're interested in, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the men you're interested in now, you find that a lot of them want to date younger women. Is that your objection?
Here it seems. Well, it's...
You said it wouldn't fly in Wisconsin, but...
It wouldn't, actually. But yeah, here the age gap is pretty prevalent.
Is it?
Older men, younger women.
Perhaps. I mean, the thing is, I mean, a lot of people, when I have the age gap discussion, like, I'm not like saying this is how it should be when I'm having this conversation. I'm saying if this is how it is, I don't really see anything wrong with that. Yeah. I think probably the vast majority of women, young women, probably want to date a guy around their age, you know? Like, if you're 19, probably want to date like a 20-year-old.
That's true.
Or 19-year-old. Like, that's most women. And I'm not saying, like, oh, you have to go and date a 30-year-old man. But if she wants to date the 30-year-old man, and he wants to date her,
that's
and
true.
I don't see anything wrong with it. Anything wrong.
May I share? I was under the impression, and I will own this, and I will apologize to you. I thought it was
no apology necessary.
Well, I thought it was pursue younger women because they look better, they're more fertile. That's probably not you, but that's the path that I was thinking.
Oh, I'm happy to take that position, actually. I'll take the position. So, I mean, first off, again, I'll reiterate that I think the majority of young women probably want to date guys around their age. Like, you know, if you're in college, you probably want to date a college guy. If you're 19, you want to date a guy who's like 19, 20, 21, in that age range. That's probably the case for the majority of women. I think a higher proportion, though, of men who are a bit older, in terms of what they find attractive in a partner, there's obviously the question of, can they get that woman? That's another conversation. But in terms of what I think men find most attractive, yeah, most men probably find women between the ages of 20 to 25 the most attractive for a variety of reasons. One of those would be fertility, but I think it just comes down to like probably physical attractiveness. But the biggest thing I think is it actually probably comes down to, there's a couple of things here. Oops, sorry. Comes down to like probably, they're just like less baggage. That's a big thing. Men don't want, like the biggest thing I think a lot of men look for, like especially a guy who has choice. Like if you have choice, like a guy who doesn't have choice, he's gonna put up with a bunch of bullshit for pussy.
Yep.
If you need earmuffs when I use that word, but
Totally
a lot
agree.
of men, if they don't have choice, will deal with a crazy chick for pussy.
Okay.
But a guy who has options, if you introduce drama and conflict and you disrupt his peace, especially if he's a dude on his mission, goodbye, like you are done.
Can an older woman be that though too?
Sure, yeah, you
Okay.
can be peace at any age.
Okay.
But like he's also going to be looking towards younger women too. And
With
he's
the
going to
mindset that the younger woman automatically means less
not
baggage,
necessarily.
yeah.
Look, there's you could find a 30-year-old who's fantastic and deal with a 20-year-old who's a nut job,
Got it.
who's drama. I do think there is one component though that I've actually never argued, and it's this. And I think it actually just makes sense. So it comes down to who's a catch. And this is just a reality, right? Or no, what's the specific terminology on this? Oh, keeper. She's a keeper.
Okay.
Right? Or he's a keeper. There are going to be more 20-year-old keepers than there are 30-year-old keepers.
Agreed.
Because that's an additional 10-year time that she could have been kept.
Yeah.
Or he could have been kept, whatever. Goes both ways. So the reality is, if you're a 30-year-old guy, you got to think, the 30-year-old women, why didn't they get kept? Not to say that you can't find a 30-year-old woman who's a great woman, but like the proportion of the dating pool, the percentage of the dating pool of women who are like, this is a keeper, I want to marry her, want to have kids with her, that's probably higher. There's more of them that exist at 20.
Agreed.
Because, at 20, maybe you've had one boyfriend and you're single. It didn't work out with one other dude. But as you get older, you've had more opportunities to have been kept. So the pool of optimum partners starts shrinking as you get older. And I think this applies to both men and women, but I think there's some differences, but that's just the dating game.
But as two people in our mid-30s, we also are seeing a lot of people coming out of relationships, getting divorces.
Sure.
So that's where I hear, lack of a better phrase, for older women, it's kind of, we should just go fuck ourselves.
I don't know if that's, you should, if you want to get married.
You can date younger men.
You can still date, but you got to
lower your standards.
Is that, I'm willing to hear this. I'm genuinely curious about this because I do believe in true love, and it's heartbreaking as a woman when I would love what we all want, the fairy tale of a man coming in and kind of being the white, not save me from anything, but here I am ready to lead you. Unfortunately, there are men though that also don't lead that path very well. And it doesn't have to always be super physically abusive. It could just be like, we're not in a relationship place for one another. That happens more than we're talking about people actually staying together. So the baggage problem is, if we were living in a perfect world, yeah, we all would be kept in our 20s. We're not. So I'm trying to speak for what should these women around my age do so that men do see them as, hey, that's actually a viable option versus I just want to pursue the young women.
You can level up as much as you can as a woman, whether that's working on your personality, becoming more agreeable, staying physically fit, that sort of thing. The issue is, though, women are pretty cutthroat when it comes to how they dated in their 20s. I don't think men owe you anything. Men don't owe you a relationship. You're not owed a relationship. If you can get it, great. But in the same way that you as women, men aren't owed relationships, we're not owed sex. You're not owed a relationship because you're in your 30s.
And also that experience thing you was talking about, it goes back to that. And what I've observed is that a lot of women, they become even more selective when they get older, as if they still have the mate value that they had when they were younger. So when women go through things, when they get to the point where I'm not going to put up with this anymore, and you already have a pool that isn't as large as what you had when you were younger, because you were more fertile, you were physically more attractive, you had more to offer in the mind of a man from his perception. When you get older and you still operating under the guise of, oh, I know what I deserve, I know my worth, I'm not going to settle for this. Well, at this point, you do kind of have to settle. You have to be more open and receptive to the options that you have available to you, because you don't have the same leverage that you had when you was younger. And I don't think a lot of women realize that. They still operate as if they're 23 years old when they're 37, 38, 40, as if they still have the same leverage in dating, and they don't.
Agreed.
Well,
go ahead.
Have you been dating at all?
Right now,
how many guys, do you have any guys in the friend zone?
I put in the friend zone?
Yeah.
That's, I don't personally want guys as friends. It does happen because I do a lot of what are considered masculine activities. I surf, I spearfish, yeah, I feel bad about this, but I'm very clear with them. This is not going to go. I don't see.
How many men have you been in that situation in the past year?
Since moving down to Southern California.
Well, you said you've been single for 1 year, is that correct?
I've lived down here about 2 years now. I moved down from Half Moon Bay. So since moving here, putting guys in the friend zone, I'd say there's four. There's four
that
here.
you rejected.
They didn't pursue, if one of them could step up and lead in the way you are, it might have been different. It was more, it's not simp. It's just more, they're
Have you been on dating apps?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how we
You-
did. No. No?
Dun dun dun. Next.
Which one was it? Hinge?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I hate
just
when
miss?
women do this. It's so fucking annoying. You gotta fucking do a
I took it as a
disclaimer.
marketing
I
thing. Yeah.
sent you a message for you to come be on the show.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I'm not saying we matched. But yes.
To try to, they fucking. I was using dating apps to get women to come be on the show.
Right.
I did not know that was
It's
a
a
no.
smart marketing tool. I'll give it to you.
It was a marketing tool, and you were very
She-
honest.
I can't believe.
Exposed.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it is a dating show, so
Yeah.
it
That's-
is a good marketing tool. She really just dropped that.
Yeah. No, just the way women say shit, like they make it sound really bad instead
Oh,
of just being
no,
like,
no, no.
"Oh yeah, like that's how I got on the shows because you sent me a message saying, hey, do you want to come on the show?" I'm like,
Yeah, that sounded a bit bad, honestly.
It's-
but
women do that
clarify.
shit all the time.
You
I
can
love
apply.
it.
I have
It's
some.
so
I have
bad.
some friends who are DJs. Some
But you
guy
were on the show
friends.
what, like 2 years ago?